Yeah, so I started off, my family was all in construction. My grandfather was in construction, aunts, uncles, brother-in-laws, sisters, everybody was in construction. And so from a young age, construction was just part of my nature. And then growing up in high school and going to school, I was much better with math than I was anything else. So I knew that mathematics was going to be something that I followed. And so piggyback on that, after I graduated high school, went in, did estimating, project management, and everything else, and then just found that estimating was kind of my forte. And so just based on the fact that I was better at it and enjoyed it more, that was more or less where I came from. I worked in the field when I graduated high school, and then some during my college career, and then for maybe a year after college, and then I was became a project manager. And then the company that I worked for, everybody did everything, so we were project managers, estimators, everything. So that's where I got into estimating. So what I like about the pre-con side of things is just the fact that I can kind of answer problems before they become problems. So I can figure out ways to build the job or to price the job aggressively, making some minor changes here and there, and then I can also foresee some of the problems that come up, and then I can kind of take those and fix them before they become problems. So the best thing that I like about Estimator is I don't have to worry about sums. So one of the things that Excel is great at is it does use sums. But the bad part about that is if you don't have the sums in the right locations, or you start adding lines here and there, sum totals can just become a nightmare and hard to track down, hard to find problems with them. And so the one thing that I do like about DESTINI is I don't have to worry about that. Once I enter in an item, I know it gets transferred over, everything else. And then in the fees table, coming up with all the fees and making sure that all those are calculable, and if I need to add a new fee or delete a fee, it's very, very easy and simple, as to where Excel can get a little bit cumbersome. So that's kind of the great part about it. And then also adding rows and making them equal everything. I don't have to worry about values becoming mixed up, so I can add a row and I can subtract a row or anything like that. And so that, or a column, and then I can kind of manipulate it the way I need to, whereas in Excel it takes a whole lot more work. Yeah, so the couple of things that I really like about Estimator is the fact that, so you do have templates, which you can set up a template at the beginning of a job, or not at the beginning of a job, but like you can set up templates for certain jobs. So if I know I'm going to be doing an interior renovation project, I can set up templates to where line items are already in the job, to where I don't have to include line items. If I'm doing a new build, I know we're going to have outside work, I can set up concrete or civil work or anything like that, whereas an interior renovation, most of them don't have that. So I can kind of specialize my thing to where I can save a lot of time during my estimating process, and where I don't have to add in line items. Those are already added into the project. A couple of the other line items are the column headers, as I'll call them. You can specialize in those to where each one it's a different layout. So I've got one for GCs, that's a different layout than my takeoff, that's a different layout than my pricing. And then I also have one for a PM, which is just my standard, just my basic one, where it's boiled down to the nuts and bolts of it that I can send to my PM, so he's not getting overloaded with stuff. So just to be able to click those around very easily and manipulate the column headers very quickly is very useful. There is a steep learning curve in DESTINI. Now, I will say that because I didn't use any other estimating software, I didn't have any background in it, but it wasn't the easiest to get started in. So having that training course helped out, and once you got going in it and once you started using it, then it became a lot easier. So it was kind of a steep learning curve at the beginning, but once you got into it and started using it, it did become a lot easier. And the more you use it, the deeper you can go. And then, I mean, there's always something new around the corner. Like, I find stuff every day. So yeah, so BECTEC definitely helped me get over that learning curve. During the initial training course, it was very basic, which was fine because a lot of people don't need to go above and beyond anything. So that initial course was very good, but then the continuing education afterwards has been very helpful because it just allows me to, once I run into problems, once I'm using the software more often, I'm like, I don't know how to do this, and some of the items just aren't intuitive to figure out. So once you know how to do them, it's simple, but it's not like I just can Google it or something like that. And so the continuing education is definitely very helpful because I just have a 30-minute or hour conversation, and I just take notes and keep questions, and then I just call up or schedule one on the computer and just go on and have an hour conversation to where we just answer questions, and then it leads into deeper dives and everything else. So yeah, it's been great. There's a website that I can go to. I use John, and he has a calendar set up that's already set up, so I just click on the date and then it gives me his times, and I can schedule up for 15 minutes, an hour, or whatever. Yeah, it's been great. Everybody's been very helpful. Everybody's very knowledgeable in the systems, and so I haven't found anything to where anybody's really been not knowledgeable in areas. And so we've definitely transitioned up the ladder to where some of the training courses, they're not as knowledgeable, but once you get past that training course, you get passed on to somebody who's more knowledgeable. And if they don't have the knowledge base, then there are other people that'll come in and they'll train you on that. So yeah, so it seems like everybody's very knowledgeable over there.